in India, we feel that the bigger issue is to make sure that these border issues are settled or border matters are settled. At least the skirmishes or the attempt to change the status quo that is being done by China ends. What China wants in the relationship is that there should be constant talk on trade, which India wants too, that diplomacy must resume, and you want to put the border standoff on a back burner. Now, there is an expectation mismanagement here.
Well, quite frankly, the bigger issues are that you have lots of people dying. You have COVID-19. Actually, India could use help. China and India should work together to make sure that this pandemic comes to a close within India and that there can be a rebuilding of the economies. Talking about border disputes when people are starving or in need seems to me a lesser issue. Now, obviously, there are strong nationalistic tendencies on both sides, which are pushing this kind of agenda. But, I mean, at this point, you notice that during the Chinese statement, their unilateral statement, before the one that was a joint statement, they did not mention that this was India's fault. China is trying to extend what they believe is an open hand of friendship. But, this, once again, this trust is an issue, and it can only be addressed through confidence-building measures, through talk. Now, if you want to go find body bags for young men and send them back to their families, that's fine. If you think that's a solution. It didn't work in 1962. It hasn't worked in any of the skirmishes that India has been involved. Sure. They still remain. So at this juncture, there are bigger issues that need to be dealt with, and this is not the one of them.
Okay, let me get in a response. Ambassador Vishnu Prakash, I think I saw him smiling through your comments. So let me first go to him, KC Singh, and then Brahmachalan. Yes, Ambassador Prakash.
With all due respect, I find this observation rather curious and unusual. If I were to strip it of diplomatese, what he is saying is that if there is an internal difficulty, economic or health-wise, then let them nibble away at your territory, take their help. Well, thank you very much. It so happens that we have not been there. That's how I heard it, my friend. But I mean, we can discuss it. So basically, the long and short of it is that it is not a one-time thing. We have gone out of the way really to accommodate Chinese sensitivities, which has not been reciprocated. And since 2013, we see the incursions turning into standoffs. And now, at this juncture, for the Chinese to amass troops and equipment and armament the way they have done does not augur well for the relationship. 30 years of CBMs and everything has been thrown out of the window. So we have a difficulty. Till this salami slicing stops, I think it is difficult to regain trust.
Okay, Mr. Aina Tangent, I'll give you a right to reply. You wanted to respond to what Ambassador Prakash said. See, that's his understanding from what you have said. He never claimed that this is what you said.
No, this is not what I said. Border issues are national issues. They're not going to be resolved. Both sides need to maintain face. They need to have a dialogue with their own people, which shows that they have maintained the integrity of their national borders. But my point is that, this kind of posturing and this idea that somehow war will settle issues is preposterous. I mean, in terms of the China-India relationships, they're not good. I mean, already you've had many instances where you've outlawed basically every Chinese app. You're trying to get rid of Chinese phones.
Mr. Tangent,
this is not exactly
beg your pardon, Mr. Tangent.
The idea was that at some point...
I kind of get a sense that you seem to suggest that this is just not good for India. Standing up to an aggression along the border is not good for India, right? But I'll come back to you.
No, that is not true at all.
Okay.
My point was that it seems in Beijing that India has used this as a kind of tactic to, amass people's attention in India to something else. If you look at the Chinese newspapers,
I don't agree with that.
If you look at the media, quite frankly, this is not even on the second page. All right.
What are you saying? We're debating it in prime time.
It is something that is consuming the media.
It's 9 p.m. in India, Indian Standard Time, and we have you on our show and we are debating this. Of course, it's not a...
I know, but
I don't know why you're calling it a diversionary tactic.
Chinese media.
One moment. Let me get in a response.
If you switch on CGTN, if you switch on CCTV, you're not going to see any mention of these tensions. All right, there's just oblique mentions. The leading story about India in the press today is about the number of COVID deaths there, not about this particular issue.
Sure,
now,
Ambassador Singh, I want to bring you in. Ambassador Prakash, I'm going to come back to you. Ambassador Singh and then Brahma Chelani.
Look, I don't like this interaction each time you go back to him. This is like the voice of global times. This is a very pro-Chinese voice, which is just running down everything you projected. But why do you go back to him each time? He's had his say. You can't keep interjecting and giving the same repetitive view that nationalism is more important for China. Let me ask him one simple question. 1962, when the Chinese attacked India, there were mass starvations in China. In fact, subsequently, we learned that Mao, in fact, attacked because his leadership was in question. And we had discovered later the famine had caused, because of his great leap forward, which had failed miserably, tremendous starvation, millions of starvation deaths in China. Now, he will say no. So was it important for China at that stage not to worry about starvation? Was he creating a diversion from a challenge to his leadership? What kind of a question is that? All politicians have to pay attention to domestic politics, certainly in a democracy. China is not a democracy. He's concentrating power. He's concentrated more power than any other leader. And India is not the only country he's having a problem with. He has a problem with almost every neighbor, starting with Japan downwards, East China Sea, South China Sea. They've just had 2 planes intrude into Taiwanese airspace today. They are questioning. They've created artificial shoals in South China Sea in contravention of the UN Convention on Laws of the Seas, and then claimed economic zones around them. Is there a law? Is there any international law that China believes in? Or whatever they say is the law? What kind of logic is this?
Okay.
Look, let me make one final point.
Sure, sir.
There is nationalism and there is a sense of belief in your own country, and I don't think economic problems are other problems incidentally caused by China. China should be ashamed of moving their troops in this manner, having caused this pandemic in the world. In fact, the world should be demanding compensation from them. India has been so sensitive. We've not used the word Chinese virus, which is being used in America. And there is a global decoupling from China, which is underway. And that is what China should care about, not worry about India.